Good. Well, thank you. Everyone, I'm Trisha Farrow, and I am really excited to talk about this topic tonight because I think personal development means different things to different people, and I hope that I share some tips with you that are helpful that you can kind of take away as nuggets as you move on this journey of building a business with Isogenics, as well as just this journey of life. Personal development is all about just bettering yourself to be ready for that next phase of life. And so I thought I would just share a little bit about myself, just my journey as it relates to personal development before I kind of get started with my tips, just so you can kind of get a feel for who I am and where I've been. So I will say that before Isogenics, personal development for me was just not really even in my vocabulary. Way far long ago it was when I was pursuing a master's degree and all of that, but then life happens, right? I got busy with having babies and just pouring into my family and my career, and really was just kind of surviving, really. I was going through the motions. I was just kind of honestly checking things off my list for just survival mode, and I wasn't really pushing myself in any area to be better. I was had fear of failure. But I was introduced to Isogenics by Naomi, and literally for me, personal development started with a full transformation, and it started with the nutrition, and it really changed because as I put good nutrition into my body, I started to feel better, and as a result, I started to think more positive thoughts, which then propelled me into this journey of personal development. So, everyone's journey is different, but that is mine, and Isogenics has been far more of a blessing to me than just the weight loss and energy experience. It's really propelled me to really know how important it is to invest in myself. So as a result, I'm on this journey. I'm living life great. I have 2 little ones. I have energy to keep up with them. And my goal when I think of personal development, like, what is it? What is it to you? Holly and I were talking about this. She's like, what is it to you? And I just said, I probably rambled on, but in really its simplest forms, to me, personal development is action that is investing in yourself to enhance your quality of life. And by doing so, it is propelling you towards reaching your goals and your dreams. And so, that to me is what personal development is, right? We all want to enhance our quality of life by investing in ourselves because we all have goals, dreams, and aspirations that we're trying to reach to. But really at the core of that, at the crux of that, is self-love, right? Because if you don't love yourself, you aren't going to set aside the time to invest in yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be committed to reading that next book, to listening to that podcast, to watching the Facebook Lives, to really diving deep into what will help you grow. And so I think for me, for anyone listening, I feel like it needs to start with self-love. And if you are one person on the phone that is just listening right now and you're like, yeah, I really don't really commit to developing myself, that's okay. Like, I was there too. But start today with just loving yourself. And I'm going to just share 5 tips that I think helps just start the journey of self-development, because at some points in our life, we're good at it, and some points, we maybe will stall because life happens. So the first tip that I'm just going to share that I think is just relates to personal development and self-love is finding gratitude. So finding gratitude in today. Because being grateful for the things that we have today recognizes our accomplishments so far and how far we've come, and being thankful and grateful and basking in that awesomeness to be ready and prepared for what tomorrow brings. And so for me, I practice gratitude every day. And I used to think that's phony, that's hokey, that's pokey. But it has helped me truly personally develop and building my confidence, and also just building my belief and being grateful for everything that I have. So for me, before my feet hit the floor every single morning, I say 3 things I'm grateful for. And before I rest my head on my pillow at night and shut my eyes, I do it again. And throughout the day when things happen, again try to look for something in that moment to be grateful for, because what that does is it shifts your mindset. And I think you have to have a strong mindset. Really, personal development is strengthening your mind, right? We all agree the brain is the most powerful muscle, but we have to exercise it. So for me, gratitude is like at the top of my list for personal development, and just strengthening your mind and being grateful for today so that you can be prepared for what tomorrow has to come and what tomorrow has in store for you. So the second one, and these are all going to start with F's. I have 5 of them. The second one is feeding your mind. So obviously this can be done in a variety of ways, right? There's tons of podcasts, books on Audible, Facebook Lives, tons of resources on isogenicsbusiness.com. But really, like I said, your brain is your biggest muscle. So feeding your mind is extremely, extremely important in order to be able to continue on the journey of trying to be your best self to reach your goals and dreams. So some of the things that, or some of the books that I have read and that one that I'm reading right now, and that I'm actually kind of going through the second time, is this book, You Are a Badass. And it's all about how to step into your greatness and live an awesome, awesome life. And Jen Sincero, she just speaks truth, and she just kind of hits you straight between the eyes. She ends every chapter with loving yourself, because it's the best gift that you can give to yourself. She talks about letting go of your past, and she has exercises of like moving those barriers so that you can start to shift your mind to be prepared for the path towards achieving those goals and the destinies or dreams that you have in store. She's amazing. I mean, if you haven't read the book, I strongly recommend it. Another way that I feed my mind is obviously in my car. I also have a full-time career as a human resources manager, so I have to obviously schedule this time where it works in my schedule. And it is every day. You have to commit every day. Holly and I were talking, and she said, just like you brush your teeth, you need to listen to something motivational, uplifting, inspiring, building your own personal self in order to continue to keep going. And so one of my favorites is, and I know that we've talked about it at Everyday Rockstars here and there, but is Lynn Hagedorn's Millionaire Mindset. And for me, listening to her, for me, she's real, she's authentic. I can relate to her when she talks about things, and she really breaks it down into the simplest format to build your belief in yourself and in the business. And one of the things that just sticks with me that she says all the time is keeping the main thing the main thing. And I think we all agree that in this business, right, you're going to hear a lot of no's. But the reason my personal development is so important is because you can't let those no's deter you and take you off track or take it personally. Because when your belief is so strong in yourself and what you have to offer this world, that won't take you off track. So one thing she says is, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. And I literally tell myself that every time I get a no. I'm like, it's okay. Like, so what? Someone is waiting. It's just not them. It's just not their time. And so I think finding people, leaders that have been successful either in life, in this business, that inspire you, that you can just keep on listening to. And of course, it's great to branch out. But for me, I get so much out of her. And so that's something that's always in my car. Obviously, GoPro is a great book. There's tons of tools and resources. And we can start a thread, I think, after this call of just recommendations, because really mine isn't giving you Susan Sly and David Wood and all these lists of books to go read. I think it's personal. It's your development. It's not my development for you. But if you are seeing a leader that is doing the damn thing and you like it, ask them, what are they doing to develop themselves? And so maybe we can just start a thread here of what we would recommend after this call. So that's number 2, feed your mind. feed your mind every single day. My third one is feed your soul. So I also need to jam out to Christian music. I'm a woman of faith, and if that's not your thing, that's totally fine. But for me, it helps raise my frequency. So in this book, Jen Sincero, and a lot of people talk about this, right? In leadership trainings, raise your frequency and you'll attract that frequency. And so for me, it helps raise my frequency, and it gets me on a level where I'm just jazzed and rocked out, and I'm excited, and I feel like I was born to do great things, and I have a lot to offer this world, and I just operate at that level. So when I'm feeling a little down, I can put on some faith music and I can jam out. Another option to feed your soul, which I also incorporate, is meditation. So I'm so new at this. I'm such a rookie. But what you focus on can become your reality, right? And there's another book called Present Over Perfect. And that book, I don't recall it really teaching about meditation, but I'm kind of intertwining two things here. But meditation helps you be in the present moment, right? It helps you focus on being in the present, and it helps you manifest your goals. And so I'm such a rookie at it. The first time I fell asleep, and I'm like, I don't think I was supposed to fall asleep doing that. But now I have invested in myself, and my cousin actually teaches meditation. And for anyone in Minnesota, I mean, she teaches it, and I'm going, because guided meditation is helping me just try to reach my greatness and to step into my greatness. And we all have this untapped potential that's inside of us. But unfortunately, we live in a world, and Jen talks about this in this book, we live in a world where things happen to us that make us believe that we aren't great enough, or we're not good enough, or we can't do that. And so being present in that moment, taking time to meditate on the good, on what you want, will help manifest it. And I am a rookie at meditation, but what I will say is you can't do it wrong. The same thing with personal development. You can't do it wrong. Gratitude, you can't do it wrong. So just start and take it step by step. The fourth one I have is find a friend. So I don't mean like find a buddy and hang out with them and have fun. Yeah, of course, that's important. But I think it's important that just as maybe you've embarked in your life on a journey of weight loss, like I'll just give an example of weight loss, right? So I started Isogenics for energy and weight loss. I told my husband, you're my accountability partner. If I stop slipping, like, you need to tell me. I don't want to gain weight back. I don't want to feel lousy again. I don't want to get my hand in that jar or that jar. We need to get, so I had an accountability partner in him. I hope that if I would have started to gain like all of a sudden 8-10 pounds, he would have been like, oh, Trish, like maybe like get back on it, health kick. Same thing goes with this. You should have someone you trust enough, who knows you well enough, that you can call them and they're your accountability partner, that they know you well enough to say like, you're a little bit off. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? And it's okay to be vulnerable and tell that person exactly what you're going through, because they've been there. They can recommend something to you, a podcast, a book, or they can just share their experience. And it seriously helps with your own personal development to make you feel like I'm not alone. I can do this. They did it. And so I think finding a friend is huge. And it kind of needs to be someone who can give you some tough love, because it can't be someone who's just like, oh yeah, it's hard. Like life is hard. Like, yeah, you're going to be okay. No, it's like, yeah, that sucks. I've been there, but like they also need to light a firecracker under your butt to be able to get back into action and pouring into you so that you can, again, continue to move forward and not just stay in the kind of woe is me, right? We can stay there for a second, but then we got to move forward. And then I think the last one, number 5, is just finding grace in the journey. I've always talked about like, oh, I want to reach my full potential. And I want to, and as I was preparing for this call, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I'm never going to reach my full potential. Like, if anyone, I don't know, I would ask for a show of hands, but I don't have all you guys up on my screen how I have this, but right. Like, I think we, every single day, striving to be better than we were yesterday small, consistent actions every single day add up. And then before you know it, a year from now, great things are happening. So finding grace in the journey, I think, is key, because you're not just going to do gratitude and, listening to audiobooks and, feeding your soul and finding a friend to hold you accountable. In 2 weeks, are you going to see like great rewards? No, but like if it's consistent, 6 months, a year from now, will you see that? I absolutely think so. And so finding grace in the journey and recognizing that this is a marathon. It's a commitment that you've made for life to better yourself every single day, to, again, enhance your quality of life, to reach your goals and aspirations, to then leave behind a legacy that's amazing. And so, those are the 5 tips that I had when thinking about this. And I hope you took a couple nuggets away from there. And with that, I think I will turn it over to Holly.
I think we all need to give her some big jazz hands. That was really awesome. Way to go, Trisha. All right, so all I really have to do is same, ditto. You guys got it. Anyhow, so let me tell you a little bit about my story. Can you guys all hear me okay? Yeah, great. So when I first started, it was also for energy, for weight loss. And I did not know Allison beforehand. I won't go into that story too much because there's a couple other things I want to cover. But I was also in a really deep, dark, icky place. Gretchen, you can vouch for me because we were to go running at 5 o'clock in the morning. I would talk to her about my coworker and my boss eventually, who were literally bullies. It was terrible. I would cry Sunday nights, no joke. Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Friday night, I'd finally feel great because the weekend was coming. But if I didn't have Isogenics and learning all of this personal development, then I could have easily spiraled downward into a deep, dark place, a hole that is very, very difficult to get out of. So, Allison, do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yeah, if you look along the bottom, does it say share screen?
Yes.
Go ahead and click that.
Great. Okay, so I clicked it, and can you guys see what kind of growth mindset do you have?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so you'll see on the left-hand side a growth mindset compared to a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset, you guys can see clearly that you're either good at it or you're not. When you're frustrated, you give up. Compared to a growth mindset where when you're frustrated, you're not going to kick the bucket. You're going to persevere and you're going to keep going. So all of those no's that you get, do you have a fixed mindset or do you have a growth mindset? If you succeed, are you inspired? Or if you succeed, do you feel a bit threatened? Are you afraid to hit that next goal? For some of you, it might be consultant. For some of you, it might be manager, crystal director, crystal executive, 1-star, 2-star, 10-star, 6-star in some places. So whichever mindset you have, you get the choice to have. Now, we all know the story of, I don't know how to flip this back, Allison. Working on it.
There should be a spot that says stop sharing at the top, maybe.
Stop video, but I don't want to do that. We'll do pause share. Does that work? What do you guys see?
Stop sharing. I might be able to take it off. Hold on.
Found it. There we go. Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. But successful people who have worked and worked and worked hard, they didn't take no for an answer. We all know Walt Disney. He was actually fired from the Kansas City Star because his editor felt that he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Oprah Winfrey, she was publicly fired from her first television job as an anchor in Baltimore for getting too emotionally invested in her stories. But they had that growth mindset and they did not take no for an answer. They kept going because they knew they had a purpose and they had a greater thing in life that they can contribute to everybody. So I wanted to show you guys something. Trisha totally touched on this when being able to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you have a really hard time loving on others. And another great analogy is in the airplane, if it's going down, the air mask drops down. Who do you have to put that air mask on first? Yourself. Because if you can't get that oxygen to yourself, how can you help other people? So it's kind of the same thing. So I have these two empty glasses. This is you. This is your team. Okay? So if you have you and you're not doing personal development, you're not putting anything into your brain. We're already feeding our bodies with these great products. But if you're not putting anything to your brain, it doesn't work, right? You can't do personal development. But if you put personal development in, your bucket is full. When your bucket is full, you can also fill other buckets, right? So if you don't take the time to do that personal development, like Trisha said, every single day, then you're not going to be able to fill your bucket. And it's going to be like starting at square one again, because you're not going to have that motivation. It's kind of like a snowflake. It starts out, it doesn't have a lot to do with a big avalanche or a huge snowball. But when you add to it and add to it and add to it, it becomes stronger and bigger and stronger as it's rolling down the hill. It's, again, the same thing as you guys doing personal development every single day. So we have, like Trisha said, podcasts available to us, Facebook Lives. Every one of us, when you're feeling a little bit down, you reach out, or you'd be like, hey, you know what? I need to hop on a three-way call and just get pumped up and help other people pump up again. But I wanted to share with you 2 books that I have read recently that have been extremely inspirational. Susan Sly, this might be backwards for you guys, I'm not sure. The Have It All Woman. Guys, this is for you too, so it's okay to read. But it's got some really great tips and pointers of different things that she has seen in life. And I would borrow it out to you guys, but you probably can't see this. I write in all my books, so I can't borrow them out to anybody. There's notes everywhere. But one thing that I just opened up to, if something causes you to feel bad or inadequate, dump it either permanently or until you feel so strongly about your self-worth that you can simply be entertained by such media. So again, being strong by your own self-worth, that can't come if you don't do the personal development. Girl Code by Cara Labea. Now she is actually with a different company, and I encourage you guys, seek out some of those successful people who are with other companies. But Girl Code, she interviews in this book many different successful people, mostly women who are entrepreneurs and business owners. And then lastly, my biggest tip is Healthy Mind and Body. How many of you have done Healthy Mind and Body? Okay, if you have not, absolutely go do it. It costs $39 to sign up, but the company believes in that and us so much that once you finish it after 60 days, once you hit 60 days, they give you $45. Do you know how much I had to pay for this book? They didn't pay me back for reading it. So it is a huge gift. Make sure you do it, and don't just do it once. Do it again and again and again. I am on my 3rd time doing it, and even though the questions are all the same, it feels like something different every single time because I'm growing every single time. So definitely make sure you go on there and do it. And if any of you ever have any questions, you know, we're all there for everybody because it's kind of all a one-team deal, right? So if you're having troubles or you have questions, always reach out to any one of the leaders or a teammate, anybody within this group or within the organization. So that is what I have today. Does anybody have any questions or comments? None? No? Does anybody have a favorite book that they're reading right now?
I'm reading The Big Leap right now, by Gay Hendricks. Have any of you read it? Raise your hand if you have. The Big Leap. It's so good. So the cover says, conquer your hidden fear and take life to the next level. And it's all about like going from here to here and not letting yourself like creep back to this space where you were comfortable. So it's like, oh, it's so good. They talk about like self-sabotage and like getting into your zone of genius and all this really cool stuff.
That's awesome, Allison. That's going to be on my reading list then for sure.
Yeah, they're putting some in the comments too.
Oh, good. The Power of the Other. Oh, Eunice, I just saw you hold the book up. I was going to just say that. That's awesome. GoPro for sure. That's a good one. Become a Rainmaker. That sounds really, really good. Oh, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. Is that right, Ashley? Yeah, she's really good. I actually just listened to that book on Audible. I spend a lot of time in the car going to work and back home again. It costs me, I think, like $15 a month, and I get a free book for $15 every single month. So I get to pick and choose what it is I want. Go Giver, that's really good. Big Magic. Allison, Scrappy sounds like something I would love.
Jonna said she's reading Scrappy.
Oh, Scrappy.
So I was saying that sounds like an interesting book to me, a book called Scrappy.
It does. Jonna, can you tell us a little bit about it, or are you in the tent?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I unmuted. Scrappy is by an author who is friends with Susan Sly. So she quotes Susan Sly in the book, and it is just tons of stories about how people get really scrappy, but classy scrappy. I mean, they're not breaking rules and they're not, being crazy, but just really great ideas how to, get what you want basically, or go far in your business in ways that maybe not everyone would think of. So it is so good. It's so like my kind of book. And the writing isn't the best. Like, I love writers that write really good, but the stories are amazing. So I get a lot of good little tips from that book. So I love it.
That sounds really good, especially if Susan Sly is one of my favorites for sure. And Susan Sly also has a couple of, Trisha was talking about meditation. She has a couple of meditations. One of them that I love to use is called The Shift, and you can download it right from her website too. It's really good. Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions that anybody has? Or books that they like?
Rachel
I love them.
asked about the book, Trisha. Was it you? Oh, you are a badass. Great. Okay. Let's make sure to go put all of those books you just listed on. Holly or Trisha, I'm sure, is going to spread an Everyday Rockstar for personal development and everything. You guys, this was so good. Thank you so much. I can just tell such huge growth by leaps and bounds for both of you. And it's clearly you can see they're living it. They're walking the talk. They're doing personal development. So I absolutely love it. Thank you both for your perspective so much. Awesome. Okay.
All right, yeah, everybody, jazz
Any
hands at the end.
otherwise?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.